You and I love a good quality watch, with incredible finishing, good value movements and gorgeous dials. But generally what we don't like is that hefty price tag usually associated with them. Luckily for you, in today's video I'll be showing you a watch which fits that bill, yet is a small fraction of the price with the Zelos 300-meter GMT. Dial wise, we have some very special dials, including the Sky Blue, Mother of Pearl, Cracked Ice, Meteorite, which comes at a premium, and what I personally got, the Vintage Black. These dials all have incredible patterns and textures, as well as hands and markers which suit them perfectly. They are also enamel coated, which you don't see much these days. Generally, that's in older watches. For example, what I'm wearing on my wrist is a Omega, which has an enamel dial, but this one is from 1928. So the difference in time period is quite a bit, and generally you don't get much enamel these days, so that's actually quite rare and exciting to me. In terms of size, it's 40mm in diameter and 11.5mm thick. But with a lug-to-lug of only 46, it wears very nicely on all sizes of wrists, proven by the fact it looks good on even my 6.5-inch baby wrist. It's got great lume, but more importantly is the 300 meters of water resistance, making this a true diver. Talking about true, the movement used is the Japanese Miyota 9075, which is an incredible true GMT, which is very reliable and has good accuracy in finishing for the price range. As well as this, the watch in general has very good finishing and nice proportions. Specifically, I need to mention the bracelet, which is of very nice quality. It tapers and comes with a quick release system, which is always preferable and nice. In terms of brand, it was founded by Elshan Tang in 2014, who is from Singapore. The brand is named after the Greek deity of zeal and passion that aptly reflected the ethos of the brand, which is to create distinctive timepieces that each told a story with unique materials and a unique design language. And I agree with this self-proclaim, because they are made of interesting materials such as the meteorite dial and the fact they use enameling, a process which is very rarely used in watches these days, but is still very desirable and attractive. Additionally, the textures and patterns on their dials are very unique, to a point where, similarly to other brands which you can look at a dial and say is from them, they have a very unique design language which is sort of childish in a way, I suppose. Lots of colours and cool texturing and patterns, but it's very out there and I quite like that. It's definitely unique. But unlike some unique watches, it's not done to a gaudy or tacky level. Before we get into the issues, I'd like to say thanks for sticking around and pressing that like button. It really is appreciated. Now, as for issues, there is one teeny tiny one, and that is just the lack of micro adjustments. This isn't the end of the world. In fact, it's not even a deal breaker for most people, and for me it isn't either. The links, as you can see, are relatively small, so you can still get a good fit on your wrist. So it's not the end of the world, but it would have been nice. I think the finishing is very nice. The bracelet is incredible with a nice taper, brushing on the top, bottom and sides, though there is actually some polishing that transitions between the top of the links and the side, which gives it a very nice and eye-catching look under the right light. The dial has such a unique but lovely texture, the markers are very nicely done with no QC errors, and they suit the general style of the watch perfectly. The hands are basic but work well, and the bezel is very nicely done with some wonderful bi-directional bezel action. The crown being at the 4 o'clock marker is different, and I think I would still prefer it at 3 o'clock, but that's just personal preference, and to be fair, not only is the screw down crown very nicely branded, but its 4 o'clock positioning and the right side of the case actually pointing outwards make the crown even better protected, which makes the watch even more robust than it already is. The caseback is also very nicely machined, and cool enough for my mum to refer to this watch of mine as the Shark watch. The branding and finishing on the clasp is also incredible, and the watch feels very comfortable on wrist. So what is the overall verdict? I think that for the $529 asking price, it is a very good value proposition and is an incredible timepiece. I must also mention that at least historically for this brand, they generally sell out quite fast. In fact, I believe the last time they released some new dials, they sold out within an hour. So you're going to want to get on that. It is releasing on Monday. But sponsorship aside, I really must say the case, the bracelet, the general design, the proportions, and especially the level of finishing are all to a very good standard. As well as the fact I have found no quality control issues, but of course, I've only had one watch from them, so I can't necessarily say they have good QC. Though from what I've asked from people around, they generally do seem to have good QC, so there you go. Overall, if you want a daily beater that looks good, has a useful complication, is extremely robust, and a little bit unique, a little bit more of a statement piece, I think it is an incredible value proposition and a great watch to go for if you are in that budget price range.